Where are you watching from? Let me know down in the comments. This is a fictional story, but the crucial lessons deeply embedded within it are as real as the chilling callousness of an ungrateful child. It's a terrifying story about family, brutal betrayal, and the harsh reality of what happens when the people you love look at you and see nothing more than a walking ATM. My own daughter gave me a brand new tablet for my 66th birthday. It was sleek and supposedly a touching gesture of love. I believed her. I brought it to my grandson Leo's place the next day. Leo is a cybersecurity analyst, a sharp kid who sees code the same way I used to see bridge schematics. He looked at the device for 5 minutes. Then he went pale. He whispered, "Grandpa, we desperately need to call the police right now." I did not believe him at first. I thought he was being dramatic. But 11 days later, I watched as 2 armed officers put my own daughter in steel handcuffs right in her own living room. She had built a digital prison for me, intending to strip me of my fortune, my home, and my sanity. But she forgot one crucial thing. I built suspension bridges for 40 years, and I know how to spot a structural failure. Before I tell you how I dismantled her horrific scheme, please tell me in the comments which city you are listening from. Hit like and subscribe if you have ever had to fight for your own dignity against the people who were supposed to protect you. "Everyone, if I could please have your absolute attention," she announced, her clear voice projecting effortlessly across the massive room. "Today, we are proudly celebrating the absolute most important man in my entire life, my wonderful father, William Bennett. Dad has absolutely always been my solid rock," she loudly continued, staring directly out at the wealthy audience, entirely ignoring me. But as we all clearly know, modern technology aggressively moves incredibly fast, and sometimes our beloved older parents sadly get left behind. We fiercely want to absolutely make sure he actively stays highly connected, perfectly safe, and closely with us. "Happy birthday, Dad," she cooed, forcefully handing me the heavy box. The wealthy guests collectively oohed and ahed in highly practiced unison. I carefully unwrapped the silver paper. Inside the box sat the absolute latest, highly expensive Titan Pad Pro. It was an incredibly massive tablet, the large screen totally dark and highly glossy. I had actively seen the aggressive television commercials. "Thank you so much, honey," I said softly, feeling genuinely surprised. "This is absolutely too much. My trusty old Dell laptop actively works fine." Vanessa laughed loudly. "Oh, Dad, that pathetic old laptop is an absolute dinosaur. It is a massive security risk. This beautiful device is the absolute future. It has absolutely everything you could ever need." She actively pointed at the shiny box. "Advanced health monitoring, direct banking access, instant video calling. It is specifically designed entirely for seniors to actively keep their complicated life simple." Designed for seniors, that phrase sharply stung me. It implied that I was incapable of handling any mental complexity. I built massive bridges over dangerous rivers, for God's sake. But I swallowed my pride. She was clearly trying to be nice. She was my only living daughter. Since my beautiful Sarah tragically died, Vanessa was absolutely all I actively had left in this quiet world. "So, do you like it?" Vanessa asked sharply, absolutely not looking directly at me, intensely scrolling aggressively through her bright phone. "It is incredibly generous, Nessie," I softly said, intentionally using her fond childhood nickname. "But really, I am completely used to my trusty laptop. All my important files are stored there. All my precious photos of your beloved mother. We are going to migrate all of that crucial data tonight," she stated firmly, her sharp tone actively leaving absolutely no room for any debate. She quickly sat up, her cold eyes suddenly incredibly sharp and intensely focused. "Dad, listen to me. I fiercely worry about you completely, actively living entirely alone in that massive house. You are getting older. You aggressively forget important things." "I absolutely do not forget important things," I mildly protested. "I missed one utility bill last month strictly because the postal mail totally got lost." "One bill that we actually know of," she instantly countered. "Look, this massive tablet is the absolute perfect solution. It is officially called the Guardian Ecosystem. I specifically had my tech guy set it up for you, but we need to activate it right now." "Give me your right thumb," she ordered sharply. I slowly pressed my worn thumb against the glowing sensor. The sleek device chirped loudly. "Good, now your entire face. I quietly stared directly into the small camera lens. A bright green circle rapidly spun around my tired reflection. "Okay, you are fully in," Vanessa stated, her fast fingers flying directly across the virtual digital keyboard. "Now, here is the deal. This highly secure tablet is now your entire primary device. I am aggressively going to deeply sync it perfectly with all your bank accounts, your massive investment portfolio, and your entire medical records. It uses a highly complex triple encryption algorithm. It is vastly safer than heavily fortified Fort Knox. Is that honestly necessary?" I quietly asked. I like physically going to the local bank branch. I genuinely like talking directly to the friendly tellers. "Dad, absolutely stop it," she snapped viciously. "I am strictly doing this purely for you. There are incredibly many vicious scammers heavily out there, aggressively targeting vulnerable seniors. They ruthlessly steal millions of dollars every single year. This smart device protects you. If any suspicious financial transaction suddenly happens, it instantly alerts me immediately. I can effectively help you perfectly manage it. Do you desperately want to quickly lose absolutely everything Mom and you aggressively worked so hard for, just because you foolishly clicked on the entirely wrong link?" "Fine," I sighed heavily. "Set it up there," she announced finally, handing the massive tablet heavily back to me. "It is completely done. Oh, and Dad, exactly one more crucial thing. I am officially taking this completely away," she firmly said. "Wait, absolutely what?" I instantly stood up, my heart actively racing. "No, I deeply need that. No, you absolutely don't." She tightly clutched the machine. "We successfully transferred the important photos. Absolutely everything else is total junk. Dangerous viruses, aggressive malware, completely outdated software. It is an absolute ticking time bomb. I am fiercely doing you a massive favor. I will directly have Todd securely take it to the electronics recycling center exactly tomorrow." "Vanessa, absolutely please," I softly pleaded, actively reaching desperately for it. She violently pulled it aggressively back, her cold eyes turning into absolute ice. "Dad, you explicitly promised to trust me. You promised to completely let me take perfect care of you. Do you absolutely trust me or absolutely not?" "I deeply trust you," I softly lied, the bitter words heavily tasting like dry ash. "Good." She smiled brightly, aggressively dropping my precious old laptop carelessly onto a massive pile of discarded gift wrapping. "Now quickly go straight home and actively get some deep rest. You look incredibly tired." Access securely granted. My old heart violently gave a terrifying little stutter. I quickly tapped directly on the detailed transaction history. Exactly there, at the very top of the list, was a massive debit made exactly yesterday. The vague description was highly troubling. Purchase: electronics boutique. You look entirely exhausted. Dad, you aggressively forget important things. Her cold voice violently echoed inside my tired head. I firmly decided to wait. I would go to the local bank absolutely in person exactly on Monday morning. I would actively talk to Mary, the highly trusted teller I had known for 10 long years. She would definitively clear this massive mess completely up. I didn't want to needlessly bother Vanessa. She would absolutely just aggressively give me that highly condescending look completely again. That terrifying look that loudly said, "Poor old Dad completely losing his pathetic marbles." "Can I help you, sir?" he politely asked. "I'm specifically looking for Mary," I stated warmly. "Mary proudly retired exactly last week," he answered cheerfully. "I'm Jason. How can I efficiently help you today?" "I want to securely check a suspicious transaction on my private account," I firmly said, placing the massive tablet squarely on the polished counter. Jason closely looked at the sleek tablet. "Incredibly nice gear," he casually noted. I opened the secure banking app. I navigated to the detailed history. I pointed specifically to the exact line item. "This specific one directly here," I explicitly said. "The $2,000. I absolutely did not make this massive purchase." Jason quickly typed completely into his secure computer. He frowned heavily, then he typed some more. "Mr. Bennett, according to our secure system, that specific transaction was flawlessly authorized via a highly secure biometric device. Perfect biometric confirmation, flawless fingerprint, and Face ID. That's totally impossible," I fiercely said, my strained voice actively rising slightly. "I was actively at home absolutely all day." Jason quickly turned the bright screen directly towards me. It clearly shows the highly specific device ID, completely matches the exact one you are holding right now. Titan Pad Pro. The secure authorization came directly from this specific unit. I intensely stared at him in shock. Then I stared at the massive tablet. But I just officially got this massive tablet exactly last night. The massive transaction is officially dated precisely 2 days ago. Jason simply shrugged. Sometimes the official posting dates are weird, completely out of sync. But the biometric authorization is perfectly solid, sir. Maybe you completely pre-ordered something. I entirely did not pre-order anything. I aggressively snapped loudly. The impatient people waiting in the long line behind me heavily shuffled their feet totally in annoyance. I deeply took a massive deep breath. Look, Jason, I fiercely want to dispute this completely. I can absolutely officially file a formal claim, Jason calmly said, his tone aggressively shifting directly from cheerful to deeply patronizing. But since it was authorized entirely biometrically, it's absolutely going to be incredibly hard to firmly prove it entirely wasn't completely you. Unless I slowly started, unless absolutely what? Unless someone else successfully has your exact fingerprints and your complete face perfectly. Sir. Authorized entirely biometrically. Hi, Dad. Vanessa's bright voice was highly chirpy and aggressively loud entirely in the heavy car speakers. Nessie. I barely managed to completely say. I instantly got a highly secure notification entirely that you were actively at the local bank. Is absolutely everything totally okay? My old blood violently ran totally freezing cold entirely. She actively knew completely exactly where I perfectly was. I absolutely just fiercely wanted to simply say a quick hello completely to Mary. I smoothly lied entirely. Oh, completely okay. Well, absolutely, don't explicitly forget entirely. We perfectly have that important lunch completely with Dr. Reeves exactly next entire week. You specifically promised entirely to successfully get a full medical checkup perfectly. I absolutely didn't explicitly promise absolutely anything totally. I deeply thought completely. But I smoothly said entirely, sure honey. Totally great. Deeply love you completely, Dad. Love you perfectly too. The loud line violently went entirely dead perfectly. I deeply looked entirely at the completely black glossy screen perfectly. Notification entirely that I actively was securely at the local bank. She exactly was perfectly tracking absolutely me totally. Suddenly, the massive car explicitly felt entirely incredibly small perfectly. Dear board members, please accept this formal letter as my immediate, official resignation. My health has sadly deteriorated significantly faster than originally anticipated, and I can absolutely no longer securely manage the highly complex responsibilities of the Treasury. I sincerely apologize for any massive mess I have sadly left behind. Sincerely, William Bennett. But exactly as my trembling fingers barely touched the virtual keyboard, the bright screen instantly froze completely. A bright spinning wheel of digital death violently appeared. Then a massive pop-up message, error 404, network unavailable, Bill, oh my absolute goodness, she cried, her voice heavily dripping entirely with thick, sickening sympathy. We literally just got your formal email. We are incredibly so sorry. We absolutely had absolutely no idea. Things were entirely that incredibly bad. Alice, desperately listen to me. I stammered loudly. I absolutely did not write that. It is a massive mistake. My secure computer is entirely acting completely up. There was a heavy, dead pause on the exact other end. A long, highly uncomfortable silence. Then she finally spoke, her tone significantly lower, significantly softer. Bill, it is completely okay. Vanessa specifically called me exactly this early morning. She sadly told me you explicitly might aggressively try to quickly take it entirely back. She heavily explained absolutely about the severe episodes, completely about the deep confusion. We perfectly understand. Safely take good care of yourself, Bill. We have actively already officially appointed a temporary, capable replacement. Vanessa absolutely had proactively called her perfectly preemptively. She entirely was not actively just tracking me. She explicitly was aggressively orchestrating my complete social suicide entirely. That dark night, I absolutely did not completely sleep. I quietly sat entirely in my large armchair, heavily watching the massive tablet. I was desperately afraid to explicitly touch it, yet intensely afraid to completely look entirely away. Around precisely 3 o'clock in the dead morning, the dark screen suddenly lit entirely up. It completely wasn't a standard message. It was a formal purchase confirmation. Another incredibly massive one. Exactly this specific time actively from a large medical supply company. Exactly $300. The precise item description actively made my old stomach entirely violently turn. Adult incontinence briefs, bulk pack. I violently felt a massive surge of absolute rage, entirely so incredibly hot, it violently burned my tired eyes. I aggressively grabbed the massive tablet to instantly successfully cancel the fake order, but the bright screen instantly went entirely black. It explicitly ignored my heavy touch entirely. It was an absolute brick, a highly sleek, incredibly expensive dark brick exactly, that heavily mocked me perfectly. The exact next early morning, a massive delivery truck aggressively pulled entirely up specifically to my long driveway. The bored driver heavily unloaded exactly 4 massive brown boxes. I furiously went entirely out exactly to the wooden porch. I absolutely didn't explicitly order entirely this, I firmly told the driver. Quickly take it entirely back. Can't officially do exactly that, sir, the tired driver firmly said, heavily looking strictly at his clipboard. It is explicitly marked strictly non-returnable, personal hygiene products. Please securely sign exactly here. Please. I fiercely completely refused entirely to securely sign. He lazily, explicitly left exactly the massive boxes perfectly right on my wooden porch entirely anyway. I awkwardly stood perfectly there, actively staring strictly at the large label totally with my exact name explicitly entirely, on precisely it absolutely in massive bold black letters. William Bennett, friendly neighbors explicitly were entirely walking perfectly their dogs. They politely completely looked precisely at the massive boxes. They heavily perfectly looked entirely at me entirely. I could clearly see entirely the unasked questions actively in their eyes. Poor old Bill, he is completely violently losing total control entirely of his tired bladder. He is completely falling totally apart. I frantically dragged the huge boxes completely perfectly tightly exactly inside. My tired face furiously violently entirely burning entirely completely with intense shame, and violently shoved firmly them directly into the small guest room dark closet entirely. 10 minutes later, Vanessa called. Dad, the delivery notification just popped up. Did you get your supplies? Stop it, Vanessa, I growled, my voice shaking with fury. I do not need diapers. I do not need a caretaker. You are doing this. You are hacking my account. Dad, stop yelling, she said, her voice calm, entirely reasonable. You are getting agitated again. Remember what Dr. Reeves said, agitation is a symptom. I ordered those because I found wet sheets in the laundry last week. I was trying to save you the embarrassment of buying them yourself. You are lying, I shouted. I have never wet the bed in my life. There you go again, getting angry when I am just trying to help. She sighed. It is the dementia talking, Dad. It is not you, I love you, we will get through this. Just take your pill and rest. I violently hung up. I forcefully threw the phone onto the sofa. I paced the entire room. Was I actually completely crazy? Did I actually wet the bed and entirely forget? No, absolutely impossible. I frantically checked my sheets. They were perfectly dry. They smelled exactly of my lavender detergent. She was aggressively gaslighting me. She was forcefully, completely rewriting my absolute reality. Exactly one fake notification directly at a time. By the agonizing 3rd day, I was an absolute ghost directly in my own life. My primary email password had been forcefully changed. I could absolutely not access my massive investment portfolio. When I desperately tried to fiercely call my trusted broker, the urgent call was immediately successfully redirected strictly to Vanessa's secure voicemail. Absolutely every single digital door I desperately explicitly tried entirely to quickly open, explicitly was violently secure slammed, right firmly solidly hard. Then exactly came the absolute final violent blow, the exact notification that broke. A calendar alert, event, assisted living facility tour, location, Shady Pines, time tomorrow, 10 a.m. note. Deposit paid. Deposit paid. I frantically tapped on the banking app. I did not care if it was tracking me anymore. I desperately needed to see the precise balance. $74. Exactly $10 were completely gone. Transaction description. Shady Pines, entry fee. I heavily sank entirely onto the cold kitchen floor. My tired legs absolutely just gave totally out. She absolutely was entirely not actively just quietly stealing absolutely my money entirely. She, the house where I warmly held Sarah's hand. I fiercely gripped the heavy tablet. I firmly grabbed my silver car keys. I am absolutely not completely crazy, I firmly said entirely aloud. I quickly got safely into my reliable car and steadily drove directly to Leo's. Leo quietly lived exactly in a converted massive industrial loft completely on the gritty edge of the old city. It was precisely the kind of place Vanessa turned her nose entirely up at, disgustingly calling it dirty and aggressively transitional. I warmly called it completely honest. It was a massive building entirely made completely of solid brick and heavy steel. When young Leo finally opened the heavy door, the stark contrast entirely between my quiet world and his highly chaotic one hit me instantly perfectly. Leo's messy apartment was a highly chaotic, loud symphony. "Grandpa," he nervously said, stepping politely aside. "You deeply look exactly like you just actively outran a massive hurricane entirely." "I need you to look at this," I said, my voice raspy. "Vanessa gave it to me. She says it is to help me, but I think it is trying to destroy me." Leo didn't laugh. He didn't ask if I had taken my medication. He pulled up a chair for me and sat down in his own ergonomic seat. "What is it doing?" he asked, spinning the tablet around. "It is rewriting history, Leo. I tapped the notebook in my pocket. I have my logs. I know what I did. I know what I spent. But this machine, it says I am spending thousands on things I never bought. It says I am writing emails I never wrote. It says I am losing my mind." Leo frowned. He picked up a thick black cord with custom connectors. He plugged one end into the tablet and the other into his tower. "Let's see what is under the hood," he muttered. Windows began to rapidly pop up on his large screens. Thick lines of complex code cascaded down like green digital rain. To me, it looked like absolute chaos. To him, it was a familiar language. His fast fingers flew across his mechanical keyboard, the clicking sound, rhythmic and aggressive. He wasn't just looking at the system files. He was interrogating the sleek device. For the first 10 minutes, he was dead silent. The only sound in the quiet room was the low hum of his cooling fans. I watched his concentrated face. I saw the bright reflection of the green code dancing directly in his eyes. Slowly, his expression shifted from genuine curiosity to deep confusion, and then to something significantly darker. A deep furrow appeared right between his brows. "This is not a standard operating system," he said softly. "What do you mean?" I asked, leaning closer. Leo pointed to a large block of text on the left screen. "It clearly looks like the standard interface, the exact one you see when you turn it on. Big friendly buttons, simple text, but that is essentially just a fake skin, a mask underneath. Grandpa, this entire device has been rooted." Rooted? Jailbroken. Someone stripped away the manufacturer's strict security protocols so they could secretly install unauthorized software, deep-level malicious software. He rapidly typed a new command. A new digital window opened, displaying a long list of active running processes. He highlighted one specific file called Guapertut. "Exe, here," he said grimly. "This is what is messing with your emails. It is a malicious script called Ghostritter. I have officially only seen this deep on the dark web. It is a dangerous text substitution engine. Explain it to me like I am building a bridge." "Leo, okay. Imagine you type a standard letter, you hit send. Before that letter ever leaves the physical device, this malicious program immediately intercepts it. It scans for specific keywords. If you type "I am fine," it instantly replaces it with "I am confused." If you type "hello," it might maliciously change it to nothing, or to a rambling, incoherent sentence about the weather. It happens in mere milliseconds. You never see the change on your own screen, but the recipient receives the altered, fake version. My old blood ran cold. The email to the HOA, the sudden resignation, and the missing money? I asked, my voice barely a quiet whisper. Leo quickly switched to another open window. He pulled up the raw transaction logs, not the pretty bank app fake interface, but the actual raw data leaving the device. He pointed to the specific purchase for the incontinence supplies. "See this on your screen? It falsely shows a payment to a medical supply company. But look closely at the routing number directly in the code. It is a digital redirect. The stolen money is not going to a medical store. It is going through a crypto tumbler. It is an active laundering service. Laundering. It legally hides where the stolen money ends up. But if I trace the IP packet, Leo typed furiously. He intensely bit his lip. Got it. The final destination wallet. It is a private, secure crypto wallet. And guess who logged directly into that specific wallet from a residential IP address in wealthy Orange County 3 hours ago? Vanessa, I said. It wasn't a question. Leo nodded grimly. She is stealing your money and strategically making it visually look like you are blowing it on senile, confused impulses. I sat back, feeling the wind knocked out of me. It was one thing to strongly suspect it. It was another deeply painful thing to actually see the absolute mathematical proof. My own beloved daughter, she wasn't just greedy, she was brutally cruel. She was dismantling my reputation, my dignity, piece by painful piece, just to get a massive payout. But why the sudden rush? I asked. Why deeply destroy me this specific week? Leo was about to eagerly answer when he froze. His hands stopped moving. He intensely stared directly at the top right corner of his center monitor. A small red icon was pulsing, a digital red eye. Don't move, he whispered. His voice was so low I almost didn't hear him. What? Grandpa, don't look directly at the tablet. Look at me. Just keep looking at me. My heart forcefully started to hammer loudly again. What is it, Leo? We missed a deep layer, he said, sweat beading right on his upper lip. We found the text modifier, we found the theft script, but there is a third active process running. It is a RAT-A remote access Trojan. It gives an external user full, total control over the hardware. He slowly reached out a shaking hand, directly toward the massive tablet. Grandpa, the camera light, the little green LED, it isn't physically blinking. I looked. He was right. It was dark. That is because she disabled the physical hardware light, Leo said. But the software trigger is active. The front camera is fully on. The microphone is on. The terrifying realization hit me like a physical blow. The absolute silence in my quiet kitchen. The private conversation in my car. The exact moment I walked directly into Leo's apartment. She is watching us. I choked out right now, Leo said. She is streaming this live. She knows you are here. She officially knows we are digging. I felt a sudden violent urge to vomit. I felt deeply violated in a way that was far deeper than simple theft. She had practically been in my pocket, in my quiet bedroom, closely listening to my tired breathing, intimately watching me sleep. Leo moved fast. He grabbed a small piece of black electrical tape, directly from his messy desk drawer, and slapped it over the tablet's front camera. Then he covered the rear camera. That instantly kills the video, he said, his voice shaking slightly. But she can still hear us, and she knows we covered the lens. Suddenly, the massive tablet came to life. We hadn't touched it. The screen lit brightly up. The volume bar slid directly up to absolute maximum on its own. A loud voice filled the quiet room. It wasn't the robotic voice of a standard computer. It was her. Hello, Dad. The terrifying sound of Vanessa's voice, crisp and high definition, loudly echoing in the quiet loft, made me jump. I see you found your way to Leo's, she continued coldly. I was wondering when you would finally run directly to him. He was always the smart one in the family. Vanessa, I said, leaning tightly over the wooden desk, shouting directly at the dark device. I know what you were doing. We officially have the code. Oh, Dad. She laughed, a cold, deeply dismissive sound. You have nothing. You are a confused old man with a documented history of severe paranoia. And Leo? Leo is just a complicit, greedy grandchild taking total advantage of his grandfather's severe dementia to get some easy startup money. That is the official legal narrative, Dad. And I have the formal medical records to prove it. You deeply forged them, I yelled. Who is the court actually going to believe? She asked. A well-respected real estate agent and a certified doctor, or a pathetic man who routinely buys adult diapers in bulk and officially writes resignation letters he doesn't clearly remember. Leo quietly typed something precisely on his keyboard. He held up a finger, signaling me to keep her talking. You won't get away with this, I said, desperately trying to steady my shaking voice. I am not incompetent, you will be, she said. Or at least legally you will be by tomorrow early morning. The hearing is at 9 a.m. emergency conservatorship. Based on the alarming behavior you have exhibited this week, rapidly fleeing your secure home, desperately seeking out a known hacker. The judge will sign the strict order before you even finish your morning coffee. Leo's bright screen flashed green. He quickly gave me a solid thumbs up. He pointed directly to the active microphone icon on his screen and made a sharp cutting motion across his throat. He had cut the live audio feed. She can't hear us anymore. I asked, trembling. No, Leo exhaled, slumping directly back in his chair. I severed the strict uplink. She is shouting at a dead digital wall now. I sank into the chair, fully burying my tired face in my shaking hands. The formal hearing, emergency conservatorship, that was the ultimate endgame. Once she had that legal signature directly from a sitting judge, I was dead. I would be a vulnerable ward of the state, and she would be my legal keeper. I would instantly lose the absolute right to hire a lawyer, to directly access my own money, to even choose where I quietly slept. We have 12 hours, Leo said. I looked up. 12 hours until what? Until I lose everything. No, Leo said. His dark eyes were hard now. The initial shock had worn off, swiftly replaced by a cold, calculating anger. He looked so much like his brave father, directly in that exact moment, it made my chest truly ache. 12 hours to turn this deadly weapon around. He pointed at the taped-up massive tablet. She thinks she is the absolute only one who can write a malicious script. She foolishly thinks she is the absolute only one who can fake a digital reality. He forcefully pulled his mechanical keyboard directly closer. Grandpa, she wants an entertaining show for the strict judge tomorrow. We are going to officially give her the absolute greatest performance of her entire life. But we are precisely not just directly going to defend you. We are going to trap her. We are going to let her blindly walk right into the heavy cage she built for you. And then we are going to forcefully weld the massive door shut. How? I asked. Leo smiled, but there was no genuine humor in it. It was a predator's dangerous smile. We are going to fully glitch the active glitch. We create a virtual environment right inside my heavy computer. We clone your massive tablet's exact operating system. When Vanessa logs in, she thinks she is accessing the specific physical device directly in your hand. But she will be directly interacting with a digital ghost, a perfect simulation. And what happens in the simulation? I asked. Whatever we want to happen, Leo replied. We control the virtual weather in there. Meanwhile, in the physical real world, the money stays safe, and we trace her dark connection directly back to the original source. I nodded. It was brilliant. It was the absolute same exact principle as a controlled demolition. You strategically weaken the massive structure where you fully. Sorry, I'll continue, but there is a catch, Leo said, looking at the taped-over camera. To get her to migrate her connection into the sandbox, she needs to believe everything is normal. She knows we covered the camera. She knows the audio cut out. She is suspicious right now. If she panics, she hits the kill switch. We need to lure her back in. We need to make her believe that I am just a scared kid, and you are just a confused old man. I understood what he was asking. He was asking me to humiliate myself. He was asking me to go back on that audio feed and beg. He was asking me to play the exact part of the senile, broken father that she desperately wanted me to be. My fierce pride rebelled against it. Every tired fiber of my being deeply wanted to scream at her, to tell her she was an absolute disgrace to her mother's memory. But I swallowed that bitter bile. I pushed it down deep. Do it, I said. Turn the audio back on. Leo typed a few quick commands. He signaled to me 3, 2, 1. I took a deep breath. I let my tired shoulders slump. I pitched my voice up, adding a fake tremor that wasn't there a moment ago. Leo, stop it, I pleaded, leaning close to the tablet's microphone. Don't touch it. You are going to break it. Vanessa was right, I watched Leo's face. He looked deeply pained to hear me officially sound this weak, but he played his part. Grandpa, I am just trying to help, he whined, sounding significantly younger and significantly more fully uncertain than he really was. I don't know what I am doing. This encryption is too hard. Just stop. I shouted, officially injecting massive panic deeply into my shaking voice. She said she would quickly call the police. She said she would put me in the home immediately if I fought back. I can't go to jail, Leo. I am terribly scared. I am so confused. I don't even remember coming here. I strategically paused, waiting. It was the absolute hardest, terrifying pause of my entire life. Then the crisp voice came directly back through the loudspeakers. It was dripping with thick condescension. That is better, Dad. I am glad you are finally seeing reason. Vanessa had taken the digital bait. I am sorry, Nessie, I said, wiping a non-existent tear directly from my lined cheek. I don't know what is officially happening to me. I thought someone was stealing my money, but Leo says the accounts officially look fine. I officially think I am just having one of my severe episodes. You are, Dad, she said, her cold voice softening into that fake sickening sweetness. It is okay. It is scary, I know. That is why I am here, to take the heavy burden directly off your tired shoulders. Now tell Leo to uncover the front camera. I need clearly to see you. I looked at Leo. He nodded. He had the secure sandbox ready. Leo reached out and precisely, let's just say he peeled the tape back. Leo peeled the black tape off the lens. I looked directly into the camera. I let my face go slack. I let my mouth hang open slightly. I looked like a man utterly defeated. Hi, honey, I whispered. Hi, Dad, she said. You look exhausted. Listen to me. I want you to go home right now. Leo can drive you, or you officially can drive yourself if you feel up to it. Go home, take a strong sleeping pill, precisely, and get some deep rest. We have a massive big day tomorrow. The formal hearing is at 9 a.m. I said. I will go home, I promise, good boy, she said. Good boy, like I was a pathetic dog. I watched the bright screen as she disconnected the live call. She bought it, Leo said, a grin spreading across his young face. She is logged into the secure sandbox. She thinks she is. She thinks she's tracking your GPS back to your house. For the next 8 hours, her screen will show your little dot driving home, parking in the garage, and staying there all night. And in reality? I asked. Leo smiled, cracking his knuckles. We are going hunting. We are going to officially. We spent the rest of the night working. We found the debt notices from offshore casinos. We found the threatening emails from loan sharks. We found the draft of the sales contract for my house, stamped with a digital forgery of my signature. Grandpa, look at this, Leo said, pointing to a final file. It was an email thread between Vanessa and Dr. Reeves. Subject: Fast track body. The old man is cracking. I will have him agitated enough by tomorrow to justify immediate sedation. Once he is medicated, he won't be able to speak to the judge. Make sure the dosage is high. I need him drooling. She was going to chemically erase my mind. I buttoned my shirt and picked up the tablet. We stick to the plan, I said. She wants me medicated. I will be ready. I drove back to my house just as the sun began to rise. I parked the car in the garage, walked inside, and immediately assumed my position. I slumped into my worn recliner, keeping my eyes half closed and my jaw slack. To anyone watching the hidden camera, I was a broken, medicated old man. My heart maintained a steady, engineered rhythm against my ribs. Vanessa arrived at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The sound of her key turning in the lock felt like a physical violation. She breezed in, bringing a gust of expensive perfume and frantic, nervous energy. Right behind her walked Dr. Reeves. He was tall, thin, and wore a tailored suit that screamed wealth. He carried a leather briefcase and flashed the kind of practiced smile politicians use before raising your taxes. He didn't look like a doctor who cured people. He looked like a doctor who closed illegal deals. Dad, wake up, Vanessa said loudly, clapping her hands near my face. Doctor, Reeves is here to see you. Remember I told you about him? I slowly turned my head. I kept my eyes glazed and unfocused. The cable is out, I mumbled. I can't find the news. Dr. Reeves stepped forward, extending a cold hand. Mr. Bennett, I am Dr. Reeves. Vanessa asked me to stop by and have a little chat. We want to make sure you are feeling your best. I looked at his hand but did not shake it. Instead, I pulled obsessively at a loose thread on my dirty t-shirt. Who are you? I asked. The insurance man. I already paid the premium. Vanessa exchanged a triumphant look with the doctor. See, her cold eyes said, he is gone. Why don't you go make us some tea, Vanessa? Dr. Reeves suggested, I will sit here with your father for a few minutes. Vanessa nodded and walked away to the kitchen. I watched her go. I knew where she was going. She was going to the granite island, where she would lean back and check her phone. She did not know that Leo had secretly taped a high-fidelity microphone underneath that exact counter. Every word she spoke was being transmitted directly to Leo's secure server. Dr. Reeves pulled a chair close to mine. He opened a file on his lap and clicked a gold pen. Mr. Bennett, I am going to ask you a few simple questions. Is that okay? I continued pulling at the thread. Is it raining? I asked. No, Mr. Bennett, it is sunny. Now, can you tell me what year it is? I paused. The engineer in me screamed to answer. I wanted to prove my mind was sharp. But the trap demanded a necessary sacrifice. I looked at the ceiling and furrowed my brow, pretending to struggle. "It is 1982, I whispered. "Sarah is picking up Vanessa from school." Dr. Reeves did not look up. He simply made a quick checkmark on his paper. "Interesting," he murmured. "And can you tell me where we are right now?" "We are at the station," I said, "waiting for the train." He made another checkmark. He was moving far too fast. He wasn't assessing me at all. He was simply confirming a fake diagnosis he had already written before walking through the front door. "I want you to count backwards from 100 by sevens," he said, sounding bored. 100, I began. 90, 92, 85, 7 blue. I let my voice trail off into total nonsense. I saw a flicker of a cruel smile on his face. He held up a picture of a wristwatch. "What is this?" he asked. "It is a compass," I said. To find north, he put the picture down and closed his file. He had been with me for less than 5 minutes. A standard cognitive assessment takes at least 30 minutes. He stood up. "Thank you, Mr. Bennett. You did very well." He walked into the kitchen. I remained in my chair, leaning my head slightly to hear them. "Well, how bad is it?" Vanessa asked. Reeves sighed. "It is advanced, Vanessa, very advanced. He is disoriented to time and place. He thinks a watch is a compass, frankly. I am surprised he is still living independently. It is a massive liability. So you will sign the affidavit?" Vanessa asked, her voice urgent. "I have it right here," Reeves said. "But Vanessa, we discussed the expedited fee, since I have to testify in court tomorrow morning on such short notice." I heard the rustle of paper. I imagined her handing him a massive check. "Don't worry about the money, Doctor," Vanessa said. "Once the conservatorship is granted tomorrow, the house goes on the market immediately. I have a cash buyer lined up. You will get your bonus. Just make sure you tell the judge he is nonverbal and aggressive." "I don't want him taking the stand. Aggressive?" Reeves asked. "He seemed pretty docile to me. He throws things." Vanessa lied. "He threw a laptop at me yesterday. That is why I had to take his devices away. He is violent, Doctor. We need him sedated before the hearing." There was a long, chilling pause. "I can prescribe a heavy sedative," Reeves said. "If you give it to him with his morning coffee, he will be a zombie by 9 o'clock. He won't be able to say his own name, let alone object to a legal motion." "Perfect," Vanessa said. "Write the script. They were not just planning to steal my life. They were planning to chemically lobotomize me." I felt a cold sweat break out on my back. This was a crime in progress, and I was the primary evidence. Reeves walked back into the living room, followed closely by Vanessa. He handed her a small piece of paper. "Mr. Bennett, it was nice meeting you," he said, not looking at me. "Goodbye, insurance man," I mumbled. Vanessa walked him to the front door. "See you in court. Doctor, 9 sharp, do not be late, and make sure he takes that medicine." The heavy door closed. Vanessa leaned her back against it, letting out a long breath of relief. She thought she had won. She walked toward me. "Dad, I am going to head out for a while. There is food in the fridge. Do not answer the door. Just sit there and watch TV, good boy," she added, before leaving the house. I listened to her car drive away. I immediately pulled out the burner phone Leo gave me and dialed his number. "Did you get it?" I asked. "I got it all, Grandpa," Leo said, his voice shaking with pure rage. "I have the bribery, I have the lies about the violence, and I have the conspiracy to sedate you. That prescription pad is the smoking gun. She wants a zombie, Leo," I said quietly. "Then let's give her one." Leo replied, "Do not take that pill, but act like you did." The real estate investors arrived 2 hours later. 2 men walked in, wearing expensive suits. They didn't wipe their shoes. They walked straight onto the hardwood floor Sarah and I had refinished together 20 years ago. "I thought you said the property was vacant, Vanessa," the older man said, looking at me with annoyance. Vanessa laughed dismissively. "Oh, don't mind him, that is just my father. He is medicated and unaware of his surroundings. You could fire a cannon in here, and he wouldn't blink." She walked over and patted my shoulder. "Dad, can you hear me?" I didn't move. I stared at the carpet, letting a small line of saliva pool at the corner of my mouth. "See," she said. "He is in another world. He will be moved to a facility tomorrow morning. You will have full possession by noon." The men walked around inspecting the house. "Standard 8-foot ceilings," the older man muttered. "We will have to rip those out, vault the roof, open up the space. The foundation is solid." Vanessa pitched eagerly. "My father was an engineer. The house has good bones, but the aesthetic is a disaster. They were planning to tear down my entire life. They moved back into the living room. Okay, Vanessa, the older man said. It is a teardown, but the lot is good. We will give you 800,000 cash, as is. 800,000, the house appraised at 1.2 million last year. She was throwing away $400,000 just to get fast cash to pay off her loan sharks. That is a little lower than we discussed, Vanessa hesitated. I was hoping for 950, take it or leave it. The man said, you want a quick close? You want us to deal with the junk removal? 800. The money goes into escrow tonight. Desperation one, fine, she said. 800. But I need the wire release authorized immediately after the court hearing tomorrow. Done. Send the contract to my lawyer. They shook hands. The sound of my home being sold out from under me echoed in the room. Vanessa walked them to the door. By the time your demolition crew arrives, he will be a permanent resident of Shady Pines. You won't ever see him again. The men left. Vanessa leaned against the door and let out a whoop of intense excitement. She did a little spin, then walked over to my chair. She leaned down, her face inches from mine. Did you hear that, Dad? She whispered. You are rich. Well, I am rich, and you are going to be very comfortable. She patted my cheek hard. You really are a good boy when you are medicated. She pulled out her phone and called Todd. It is done. I got the buyer 800. It covers the massive debt and leaves us with plenty. Get the champagne ready. The old man is vegetable soup. He hasn't moved an inch. She opened her laptop at the kitchen table to finalize the digital paperwork. I sat still, listening to her sell my life away, but inside the engineer was wide awake. I memorized every word. I cataloged every cruel insult. She thought I was debris. But if you pile up enough debris and light a match, it burns hotter than anything else. And I was already holding the match. The sun began to dip lower, casting long shadows across the floor. This was my floor. Nobody was going to tear it down. When she finally left for the night, I stood up and stretched my aching muscles. I walked to the kitchen and spoke clearly to the hidden microphone. Leo, did you get the buyers? I got their names, their license plate, and the clear recording of them conspiring to buy the property significantly under market value. Leo answered. Vanessa just incriminated herself in a felony. Good, print the photos of the house tomorrow. I am going to show the judge what kind of monster tries to destroy a home for a quick buck. I walked back to the living room and picked up the picture of Sarah from the mantelpiece. We are going to be okay, Sarah, I whispered. I sat back down in the recliner. I was ready for court. The living room felt like a meat locker. This was not a dinner party. It was a tribunal. I sat in the corner on a stiff wooden chair, dressed in the stained gray shirt, my stubble rough and unkempt. I kept my hands folded in my lap, acting the part of the sedated defendant. Around the coffee table sat the jury, my sister Clara, with a heart of gold but easily swayed by tears. My brother-in-law Mike, who respected Vanessa's luxury car as proof of her moral character. And a few cousins. Vanessa stood by the fireplace in a modest black dress, holding the Titan pad like a holy book. Thank you all for coming, she began, her voice trembling. Dad has been struggling, but we thought it was just grief. We were wrong. It is a rapid aggressive cognitive decline. Dr. Reeves calls it a cascade failure of the frontal lobe. Aunt Clara gasped. I stared at the floor. Vanessa tapped the tablet. The massive television flickered to life. I didn't want to show you this, she lied softly. But you need to understand. The video from this morning played. It showed me standing in the driveway, disheveled, asking for my dead wife. Sarah, are you coming home? I made pot roast. Clara began to weep. Oh, Billy, Vanessa swiped to a color-coded spreadsheet. In the last 10 days alone, he has drained nearly $15,000, she lied. He buys things he does not need. He sends money to scammers. If I do not stop this, he will be destitute by Christmas. He will lose the house. She picked up a stack of blue-bound documents. We have an emergency hearing tomorrow morning to grant me permanent conservatorship. It gives me the legal power to freeze his accounts, manage his estate, and place him in a facility where he can get 24-hour care. She asked them to sign the family consensus statement. Clara signed first, crying. Mike signed. The cousins signed. They were signing away my freedom, believing they were performing an act of charity. Vanessa walked over to me, crouching down. Dad, I need you to sign this for me. Just write Bill. I held the heavy pen awkwardly. I wanted to jam it into her leg, but I remembered the plan. I dragged the nib across the paper, making a jagged, illegible scrawl. "Good job, Dad," she cooed, snatching the paper away. She pulled me up by the arm, her nails digging in. "Come on, old man. Time to go back in the box." The unmarked medical transport van pulled up the next morning at 8:15. Vanessa entered my house first, dressed for victory in a navy blue power suit. Two muscular goons in tight scrubs followed her. "There he is," Vanessa said. "I gave him the medication 2 hours ago. He is compliant." One man grabbed my arm like a vice. "Up we go, Pops." I let my body go limp, dragging my feet. I stared at a dust mote in the sunlight. "Careful with him," Vanessa snapped. "I need him presentable for the judge. Don't bruise him where it shows." They shoved me into the back of Vanessa's Mercedes. She drove to the courthouse, rehearsing her opening statement. I closed my eyes and let my head rest against the cool glass. "Let's go, Nessie," I thought. Justice hates to wait. The air in the courtroom was stale. Vanessa guided me to the plaintiff's table, gripping my elbow tightly. Dr. Reeves sat next to us, adjusting his silk tie. I slumped in my chair, staring at the scuff marks on the linoleum. The judge entered, a stern man with reading glasses perched on his nose. Vanessa stood up immediately, projecting the perfect image of a heartbroken daughter. "Your Honor, we are seeking an emergency permanent conservatorship," she began. "My father is no longer capable of managing his affairs. He is a danger to himself. To prove the severity of his condition, I would like to play a video recording." She walked to the podium and connected her phone to the courtroom's audio-visual system. She looked back at me, a cruel smirk touching her lips. I held my breath. I squeezed the burner phone in my pocket. "Leo, do it now," Vanessa tapped the screen. "Please watch the monitor, Your Honor." The massive screen behind the judge flickered to life. But it was not the video of me in the driveway. It was a video of Vanessa. She was standing in my kitchen, holding a glass of wine, talking to her husband on speakerphone. Her voice boomed through the quiet courtroom. "The old man is vegetable soup. I sold the house for 800 grand. The wire hits tomorrow. We pay off the sharks and we still have enough for a trip to Cabo." Vanessa froze. She tapped her screen frantically. "No. That is the wrong file." The video did not stop. It cut to a screenshot of her crypto wallet showing a negative balance and a $150 debt to loan sharks. Then, it played the audio recording of Dr. Reeves. "Since I have to testify in court tomorrow morning, you will get your bonus. I can prescribe a heavy sedative. He will be a zombie by 9 o'clock. The courtroom erupted in murmurs. The judge pulled his glasses off, his face darkening with intense rage. Dr. Reeves turned the color of ash. Vanessa hit her phone against the podium, screaming, "Turn it off. It is a hack. He hacked me." That was my cue. I stopped slouching. I uncurled my hands. I stood up straight, my spine aligned, my shoulders back. I looked directly at the judge, and then I turned to my daughter. "It is not a hack, Vanessa," I said, my voice clear and strong. "It is a correction." Vanessa spun around. She looked at me as if a corpse had just climbed out of a coffin. "Dad, you took the pill. I poured your poison down the sink," I said. "I am not a vegetable, Nessie, and my house is not for sale, Your Honor." Vanessa shrieked, pointing a trembling finger at me. "He is faking it. He is insane." "Sit down, Miss Bennett," the judge bellowed, banging his gavel. But she lunged toward the table to run. She never made it. The double doors at the back of the courtroom burst open. 4 police officers from the fraud division swarmed into the room. "Vanessa Bennett," the lead detective shouted, "you are under arrest for elder abuse, grand larceny, and wire fraud." 2 officers grabbed Vanessa's arms. She began to thrash, her constructed mass crumbling into complete hysteria. "No, I am the victim. Look at him." The detective snapped heavy steel handcuffs onto her wrists. The metallic click was final. "We have seen the evidence, ma'am, every gigabyte of it." Another officer pulled Dr. Reeves out of his chair. The doctor looked like he was about to faint. I stood in the center of the chaos, an island of absolute calm. I watched them drag my daughter away. She looked back at me, her eyes wide with terror. She couldn't understand how the massive bridge she rigged to collapse had fallen on her instead. I slowly reached into my pocket, pulled out the Titan pad, and placed it on the table. "Happy birthday, Nessie," I whispered. The judge looked down at me. "Mr. Bennett, I am dismissing this petition with prejudice." and I am issuing an immediate protective order. You are free to go, and might I add, your mind seems sound to me. Thank you, Your Honor. The system works. It just needs a little engineering support. I walked out of the courtroom into the bright hallway. Leo was waiting, holding my battered old laptop. He smiled. Did we win? I put my arm around his shoulder. We didn't just win, Leo. We cleared the debris. Now, let's go get some breakfast. 6 months have passed since that incredible day. Vanessa is currently awaiting a lengthy criminal trial in a state facility. Todd flipped on her immediately to save himself, but they both face serious prison time. She frequently writes me desperate letters from her cell. She says she is sorry. She says she is deeply changed. I do not open them. I quietly put them in a sealed box in the garage, directly next to the broken Titan Pad Pro. Some massive structures are simply too structurally damaged to ever be repaired. They must be decisively demolished so you can build on fresh ground. And that is what Leo and I did. If you look up Bennett & Son Digital Security, you will clearly see our new website. We specialize in protecting vulnerable seniors precisely from vicious financial predation and digital identity theft. Leo handles the complex coding, building the heavy firewalls and advanced encryption. I handle the crucial client relations. I sit down directly with frightened people who look like me. People who feel the fast world is moving too fast. I honestly tell them my entire story. I tell them that getting older does not mean you are obsolete. It means you have vital experience. It means you have survived. I tell them that technology is simply a tool, like a steel hammer or a heavy wrench. It can build a secure house, or it can break a fragile window. It depends on whose hand is holding it. I am 67 years old now. I still live in my beloved house. I still proudly mow my green lawn on quiet Saturdays. But I am not alone. Leo permanently moved directly into the guest room. We happily have dinner together every single night. We argue about politics. We debate engineering versus modern software. We are a true family. I learned the hard way that real family is not about basic DNA. It is about who stands beside you when the heavy walls are closing in. It is about who hands you the solid brick to build a strong fortress, rather than handing you the dirty shovel to dig your own grave. My name is William Bennett. I was a structural engineer. Now I am a dedicated glitch hunter, and I have never been happier. If you have ever had to make a difficult, hard choice simply to protect your own precious peace, let me know in the comments below. Tell me your story, and if you enjoyed this video, please loudly hit the like button and subscribe. It helps us eagerly share these vital warnings directly with the exact people who desperately need them most. Until next time, confidently stay sharp, stay safe, and never let anyone falsely tell you that you are finished.